Right. And if you'll let them in, I will close the waiting room. Hi, all. We're here for the beginnings of the 10 to Your Spirit book launch. Not boat launch, book launch. Just to be clear on this. Okay. People should be coming in. Hello, hello. Oh, why are all these people still stuck in the waiting room? Here they come. Aha. Hello, everyone. Welcome. So we're going to give it about 5 minutes for people to find their Zoom link. So if you want to say hi in the chat and where you are and how you heard about this and anything else you want to add, we'll just hang out and wait for people to find the link and get to say hi. And then we'll introduce ourselves.
Hey, I'm Julie's sister, Greg, and I'm excited for both of y'all.
Well, I guess you could unmute and say hi too, but you can do it in the chat as well. Either way.
Oh, okay.
You're good, Greg.
You're great. And you're even kind of in the book.
I'm sorry, what?
You're in the book.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that was fun. I'm excited for both of y'all. This is neat.
And Boston and, well, Tandy's in Tacoma.
I see my, hey, Dad.
Hey, good to see you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah. Yay.
And we have at least one of our contributors. I should check to see if we have any more. Thank you all for joining. It's really awesome. And we've got people from all over. Got somebody from Eau Claire, who isn't you, Julie.
Yeah, Dean Young. I see that.
Hey, while we're waiting, we're going to have a toast pretty soon. So if you want to toast with us, get something to toast with, get a glass, get, something celebratory. And if you have your book, get your book. Some people have already gotten their books, even though officially it wasn't supposed to be available yet. So actually, I'm going to open mine while we're waiting.
Oh, cool. Adelaide, Australia.
Oh, we got somebody from Australia. Cool. We're really happy you're here to celebrate with us. Thank you so much. Yeah. Makes it really special to have you all here.
Right now, we're just letting everybody log in, and feel free to introduce yourself in the chat, and so glad to hear. And we'll get started in just a minute or two.
Yeah, I'll put in the chat about having something to toast with too. Another person from Asheville.
Nancy.
Change my view so I can see everybody. Oh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And you're certainly welcome to stay invisible. But if you want to come on even at the beginning, just to say hello, I mean, so we can see your faces, that's cool. But you don't have to. I see some other people whose stories are in the book. Yay. So happy about it. Oh, there's another one. It's a really special part of the book to have all these different voices. So it's we just used first names, but it's really great to have you here. So yeah, for those of you who just got here, you can say hello in the chat, and I'll just say if you want to have something to toast with us, go ahead and grab it because it will be happening soon.
I see a couple of people holding their cups.
Does anybody actually have their book? Has anybody gotten their book? I know that bookshop.org was, oh, look at them. There they are. Woo! Was sending them out, even though supposedly they weren't supposed to go out until the 14th.
Hey, Piers, glad you're here.
Oh, hi, Pierce. So we're going to be thanking Skinner House coming up here, and Pierce is from the press. So really glad you could make it, and has been so helpful to us in the marketing side. Enormously helpful.
All right. Do we want to get started?
Sure. Oh, we're at time here. Okay, let me just change my views so that there we go. Okay, yes, let's get started.
Are you ready for a toast?
Yeah, let's see here. So what are we doing first? I have to go look at we have a
Tandy's leading us in a toast.
Oh, we're starting with
I
the
have a toast for y'all.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So raise your glasses in a spirit of toasting and gratitude. Friends and fellow travelers, welcome. Tonight we celebrate not just a book, but a way of being. One rooted in tenderness and honesty and mindful presence. Tend to your spirit reminds us that healing is not the same as curing. It's about befriending the bodies that we have and honoring both the ache and the beauty, and discovering that even in limitation, love and creativity endure. So raise your glass to the courage it takes to live this truth, to mindful living, fierce compassion, and the steady tending that keeps the spirit alive in us all. Cheers.
Here, here. Thank you, Tandy.
Thank you, Tandy.
Honey, are we going to get some storytelling?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Well, we want to start with some thank yous. So, and some introductions. Maybe we should start there. So we start with introductions?
Sure.
Tandy, you're our host you're our MC. You want to start with introducing yourself?
Well, I think it would be fun if you introduced each other.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll introduce Florence. Florence is an amazing person that I met online, not like many people in today's age, fellow Unitarian Universalist minister and Zen priest. And she is now living in Washington State, but I met her when she was living in Urbana, Illinois. And she has 2 pandemic cats and an amazing place in Tokeland, Washington. Anything else I missed, Florence? The writer, editor, wonderful coach.
And as Julie mentioned, we got to know each other during the pandemic. Actually, I think it might have been by phone initially, or maybe through Facebook. Because by weird coincidence, we were living one state apart, and we're both UU ministers, and actually had churches that looked really similar. It's very odd. And we're both diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis within about 2 weeks of each other. So a strange way to develop a friendship, but that's what happened.
And then we had the same medications too, and all sorts of similarities and synchronicities. It's very interesting. Yes.
Yes.
Well, it's so nice to be able to swap notes with each other. Go ahead.
Yeah. And so we really did support each other, and that was great. And Julie is one of the things that I really admire about Julie is that she so loves her congregation, and you've been there now, more than a decade, right?
Yeah, 15 years.
Yeah. 15 years, yeah. And has continued with rheumatoid arthritis, which, believe me, this is a sign that she has superpowers. And she's also super into games and science fiction, fantasy writing, and hopes maybe someday we will be celebrating your first publication of a novel. And we've had an amazing time. It was actually her idea. She approached me about this book, and that's how it came to happen. And I said yes. Okay, Tandi, are you going to introduce yourself?
Oh, I'm just a fan. I'm just a fan. I'm a fan and colleague. I've known both Julianne and Florence for a while as a colleague, ministerial colleague. I want to get to the reading.
Okay.
Like, who wants to start with you?
Yes, we can start there. You want to start, Julie?
Sure, sure. So we're both going to begin with a short reading from the book, and then we'll go to some questions, and we'll have time for questions from our friends online as well. So I am reading from the very first chapter, Letting Go, and it's called Letting Go of Ego and Certainty. I'm a youngest child, and as youngest children tend to do, I struggled with finding my identity and place within my family. One of the key identities I claimed was strength. I was a 70s kid who grew up in the South. And my role models were Wonder Woman, Charlie's Angels, and Laura Ingalls Wilder from Little House on the Prairie. I wanted to be a strong, capable girl, not dependent on any boy to save the day. At the skating rink in fourth grade, I remember gleefully arm wrestling one kid after another. Who had time for skating backwards when you could win arm wrestling competitions? Being strong and capable developed into a core part of who I wanted to be. I started restaurant work at 15 and worked 3 jobs during college. And in those jobs, I was always the one who was asked to open jars. It was a matter of pride that I could twist open the jar that no one else could open. In my jobs or in my personal life, capability and strength were one of the ways to show that I could take care of myself. In my late 20s, I became a massage therapist, and my hand strength became a signature part of my deep therapeutic massage that I offered. I had my own massage practice for over 10 years until I became a full-time minister. After that, I still traded massage with other practitioners. In the heart of the pandemic in March 2021, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. I had a strong onset of crippling pain in my hands, along with increased swelling in my feet. And I found it difficult to do daily tasks and struggled with the stairs in my house. As a minister, I was concerned with keeping up with my responsibilities and learning how to function through pain. During one of the scariest and most stressful periods of my life, a lot of physical capability and strength were stripped from me. Besides the pain and discomfort, I was surprised by the emotional loss I experienced with this sudden pain. I felt bereft of capability. Even a year and a half later, I found myself miffed at the dinner table when my 16-year-old son was the one who could open a jar of spaghetti sauce. The next day, I needed to recruit his and my spouse's help to get the garden and yard ready for winter. Late fall is unpredictable in Wisconsin. Winter can come hard and fast, whether you're ready for it or not. I had intended to help put away the garden furniture, pots, and soil, but I found I had no energy left for it between full-time work and parenting. When a hard snow fell, I felt like a squirrel caught before gathering all of my winter provisions. Luckily, 2 weeks after the snow, we had a Saturday with temperatures in the 40s. I was able to work with my son and spouse to put away the outside furniture and prepare for the bitter cold to come. I am learning to accept help with grace and more gratitude, letting go of certainty, letting go of ego, letting go of the idea that I must be strong and capable to control my days is a central part of my process in living with chronic illness. Here ends the reading.
So for those of you who have not yet gotten the book, it's actually divided into 4 seasons. So you were hearing from fall there. And each chapter, and there are 4 chapters in each season, each chapter starts with a little personal essay by one of us. So You heard one from fall, and now we're going to go backwards. We're going to hear one from summer from me. So, and then there's lots of other things in each chapter, spiritual practices and poetry and all kinds of fun stuff. Oh, wow, says Blaze.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is mine, Beauty in the Shadows from the summer. And it starts with a quote from Gerard Manley Hopkins. Glory be to God for dappled things.
Mhm.
One summer, I spent months in a serious bout of illness, mostly confined to my house. I was actually recovering from a really terrible case of COVID. Finally, I began to recover enough to venture out for slow walks. But because my life had narrowed down to the most basic tasks, I had stopped wearing glasses or contacts most of the time. And so my walks were both slow and blurry. And then something magical began to happen. So I used to live in this neighborhood in Urbana. I live in an old neighborhood in a town renowned for its trees, a veritable urban forest. Every street is lined with huge old shade trees. In the years I've lived here, I have seen the trees in every permutation. Bare limbs against a gray sky in winter, the first tentative blush of green in the early spring, the lush and nearly tropical summer, and for 1 or 2 glorious weeks, which is really right now, the hallucinatory colors of fall. But I had never, until that summer of illness, slowness, and blurred vision, really noticed the shadows. I began to notice that on every sidewalk, on every street, whether in sunlight or at night under the streetlights, there was a constant play of shadow and light through the leaves. Once I began to see it, it was intoxicating, impossible not to see every time I went for a walk. In some places, the shadow was solid, but mostly there was a dance of infinitely varied dapples, moving in the slightest breeze. I asked myself how I could have missed this wonder, which surely had been nearly everywhere I have walked in my life. It was at once so ordinary and so beautiful that it made me at times want to fall on my knees in awe and joy. Would I have ever seen this without illness, without my sight being changed and blurred? I think not. And I laugh, realizing that loss and disability does indeed have its shadow side. I have been shown a glory that had been invisible to me, a living, changing, miraculous dance between such simple things: trees and leaves, light and surfaces, dappled shadows, and my own eyes. My mother was a person with an intense relationship with beauty and bliss. Oh, this chapter, by the way, is on beauty and bliss. In the last year of her life, when she was 95 years old, I spent a lot of time with her. She had lost so much, things most of us desperately fear to lose. Many of her memories, her life as a professor and researcher, her independence, her beautiful paintings, the bicycle she had ridden all over the world, her ability to read, to travel, or even to walk. The list of losses was very long, along with the many other indignities and losses of late old age. And yet, every day I was with her, I saw her overcome with joy from something. My hand in hers, an operatic aria on the radio, a tree blazing with red leaves against a deep blue sky, or even just rolling in her wheelchair across the threshold of the memory care where she lived, her house out into the big world she still loved so much. I was amazed by her inner and outer beauty, by her resilience, by her capacity for love and appreciation, by her willingness to say yes to her life, even as it was so far from what she would wish for. I knew that she was severely compromised by dementia, but who she was, her qualities of heart, shone through so brightly like the sun through dappled leaves. Shadow is sometimes used pejoratively, but my mother showed me that even a shadowed life can be a beautiful life. And the trees in my neighborhood showed me that there is hidden beauty everywhere, even in the shadows on a cracked sidewalk, even, and maybe especially, in a season of illness.
Mm.
And Tandi, she's one of our contributors.
That's right. So one of the things I loved about many things I loved about the book is there's these little other stories and snippets from people that they know, and they've asked if I would write something, and this is what I sent. So, badass warriors among us. I'm at the airport, tucked into a corner, quietly working before my plane takes off in a couple hours. Through my headset, I can hear more tone than words of a young woman a couple tables over from me. Her voice is measured and strong. She's taking someone to task, but does not sound unkind. Then the phrase, "I am right here," comes through my noise-canceling device. Moving my ear covering, I glance over. She's adamantly talking into her headset, saying things like, "I am calling about the care I'm receiving. This is unacceptable. I have a right to this information. It's about me. And you can talk to me now or with my parents at my funeral." Her voice is fierce and without apology. I rip out a piece of paper and scrawl this note to her. "You are a fucking badass. I live with chronic illnesses that remain a mystery to doctors, and I wish I had your presence and fierceness. Every time you advocate, like for yourself, you help all of us. Bless you." At first, she looks confused as I slip this onto her table and respectfully back away. She reads it, and we lock eyes, sending hand hearts back and forth to each other. I start to cry, bow my head, and pray for her safety and well-being. And for gratitude for her model of fierceness. I will remember her next time I'm on the phone, faced with medical erasure and gaslighting, and try to conjure her strength and boldness.
So before we go on, I have to do a little thing because I've promised that we're going to give away 2 books,
Oh, yeah.
autographed books. So we're going to have
Okay.
we figured out how to do this. You might be wondering, how in the world are you going to do a raffle online? So this is how we're going to do it. I have a little link here, which should work, to a form. You go there and put your
Oh.
name and your email address. At the end, I will do a random number generator for lines, and whoever gets the first one and then the second one, we will figure out a way, because we have your email address, to get a book signed by both of us to you. So our promise.
Even though we live, across the United States from each other, we're
We
going
already
to
figured out how.
magically make this happen.
No, it won't work if you put your email there. You have to actually go to the form, because otherwise I will, and you've got your name and email. We won't use your emails for anything else other than the raffle, promise. Okay. Public service announcement complete.
Okay. Well, I've got some questions. Can I start asking my questions? My grandma used to say, "Oh my God, Tandi, she's so full of questions." Usually am. So you've come to the right place when they asked if I would interview. And I have 5 questions that I had a lot of them, but I kind of shook them down into 5. And this is the first one on personal storytelling. You touched on this in your interviews introductions to each other, but I would like to know more. You both live with rheumatoid arthritis and draw deeply on your own lives in this book. Can you share a moment when your illness changed the way you thought about strength, ministry, or what it means to be fully alive?
You want to go first, Florence, or you? You're muted. I can't.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. I would say when it first came on for me was when the onset was just so strong, and it was just very frightening. And what was wonderful was to be surrounded by colleagues very quickly and to find a community online of people who were dealing with the same issue. I went from a very capable bodied person to a very, I had trouble lifting things using scissors. I couldn't walk very far. And it was just so, I thought, was this the future of my life? Would I be able to do ministry? And everybody was so stressed during the pandemic and afraid. And, like many caregiving people, we were learning how to do, do video and be televangelists, And but what was really amazing was the strength wasn't just of body, but of spirit and to ask for help, and I think that was the hardest for me because it's just been such a core part of who I am to do for myself. And so that's what strength looked different by asking for help. Yeah.
And I think for me, so my journey's been a little longer because I had other autoimmune illnesses starting in 1999. I remember one of my first great insights before I'd even fully accepted that I had chronic illness was that I had ridden my body like a horse and that this was no longer going to work. And luckily, I came into contact with this incredible Zen teacher who actually had spent her life with rheumatoid arthritis, whose whole thing was about finding pleasure as a way to balance a life of pain. Pleasure, comfort, beauty. And that's what she taught. She actually had classes in suffering and delight. And I was so lucky to have really come into contact with her, Darlene Cohen, at the time that I was first becoming ill, because it's really kind of shaped, like, yes, you can live a full life. And you can learn how not to ride your body like a horse. So.
That's good. Thank you. Thank you both. The way that you've organized the book is, I love a good framework. So that especially, I was like, oh, that was yummy. You framed the book around fall, winter, spring, and summer as metaphors for the stages of chronic illness. How did the seasonal lens emerge for you, and what new understanding has it given you about living with change?
Julie, you should definitely go first on this one because it was your idea.
Well, I approached Florence because we had gotten to know each other, and we started meeting. We met like at the Christine Center and went for walks, and then we met again, and we just kept supporting each other and supporting each other. And I said, we should really write a book. And then she's like, well, how are you going to organize it? I was like, And so we were talking on the phone, we were brainstorming all these ideas and then, and then the idea of seasons came up, and I'm fairly earth-centered in my spirituality anyway. And so that just seemed like a great framework. And luckily, Florence is an organizational genius. She when we met to plan the book, she had spreadsheets and color coding, and it was brilliant. I was so grateful to work with her. And but the seasons especially were important because we didn't want it to be this holly jolly feel better self-help book, that everything's fine. And it allowed us to really cover the depth of the different emotions that you live with and to tend to your spirit among all of it.
Yeah, and one of the things that actually the seasons sort of fit with is that there's a model for kind of our process of coming to terms with chronic illness, which is getting sick, being sick, and learning how to live well with chronic illness. And so in a way, there's a little bit of that arc. So like fall is really about like that first, that diagnosis or that new diagnosis or the new symptoms where you're just crying, and there's anger and fear and pain. And, that's a really rough time. And then, the qualities of winter, the isolation but strength as well. That's in winter. And then, that kind of coming, starting to kind of feel like what it feels like to live fully with chronic illness. So that's it. It's amazing how actually those seasons kind of worked. And we wanted to have both. I mean, I'm a botanist originally in my training, and so to have it be so connected to the natural world was really important to us and really fun, actually.
Yeah, when I saw the framework and I knowing you both, I wasn't surprised at all. I'm like, this is a natural. Yeah, yeah. So beautiful. It speaks to the authenticity. I want to talk a little bit about grief and anger as teachers. So often people with chronic illness are encouraged to stay positive, and your book instead makes space for grief, anger, and even shame. So why was it important to you to name these hard truths and what happens when we do?
I can start on this one. Well, actually, I feel like part of living a full life with just life, not regardless of chronic illness, is to be willing to actually turn towards and be willing to feel the full range of what it is to be a human being. And that is going to include grief and fear and anger and shame. And that what actually causes a lot of the suffering is feeling like we shouldn't feel that way. And when life is hard, man, you know, this is part of who we are. So that's what I would say.
Growing up in the South and just growing up in a female body, I was often told, you should smile, everything's fine, should put on your best face. And I think with chronic illness, it does a huge disservice to yourself and others. I mean, there are times when, of course, we have to be performative, but we have to have a space to let it go and just be mad. And for me, anger is such a, a gift because it took me so many years to be comfortable with anger just because of my own personality. So, yeah, it's completely healing to roll down the windows and scream out the window when you go across a dam or something, and just be real. Otherwise, it comes back in your body. I know when I'm upset or stressed, my symptoms are so much worse, for sure.
Singing my song, yes. So other practices that sustain. You offer readers meditations and playlists and journal prompts and even gold leaves for moments of self-kindness. I thought that was very creative. Can you tell us one practice that has been a lifeline for you personally during a difficult season?
Well, I'm really fond of the practice of hygge, which we talk a lot about in winter, which is for those who don't know it, the Scandinavian practice of coziness, of finding comfort in kind of simple things, not things that you have to go out and buy, but, a pair of warm socks and a blanket and, a comfortable chair and maybe a cat. I'm really disappointed my cats aren't part of this event. I don't know what their problem is. Maybe it's too much fun. But for me, actually remembering hygge has been really helpful in giving myself permission, on a bad day to be able to curl up and to enjoy it. It's okay to actually be chronically ill and enjoy yourself. So that's what I would say. That's one practice of the many.
I have two that I have leaned into, and one of them is I have a tendency to hold stress in my body, and learning to let things go. I need a tangible reminder. And so one of the practices in the letting go chapter was to take a rock and to put your intention in it and just to drop it. You can drop it in water, or I like to actually walk around and just leave a trail of rocks and just literally leave a trail behind me and just and then I feel that when there's that drop or that splash, there's just a tangible, like I can feel my shoulders go down. And then the anger part is I have a labyrinth garden, and one does not always associate anger with gardening, but weeds are very frustrating when you're trying to keep a labyrinth weeded. And so I will literally just, and my hands are usually my most tricky parts of my body. And so weeding, and I'll just exhaust myself and just let it go. And then you have a tangibly cleaner garden and all these weeds flung behind you. And again, you let it go.
Love that. Yep, I especially related to the weeding. It's cathartic. Yeah, that's good. You had such an interesting vision for this book. You envisioned this book not only for individuals, but also for seasons circles, small groups where people accompany one another. What do you hope communities will learn about connection, compassion, and resilience from using this resource together?
Well, this was something I felt really strongly about, partly because I have been leading these classes through San Francisco Zen Center on dancing in the dark fields of illness and pain. And what comes up over, and it's sort of, I mean, it shouldn't have surprised me because of my own experience, but what came up, I always ask at the beginning, like, what's most important to you in doing this class? And what always gets said the most is dealing with the isolation of chronic illness. And a lot of people try support groups and actually don't like them, right? There's support groups are kind of problematic. So we wanted to, and both of us are being UU ministers. We know about Soul Matters groups and chalice circles and all of that kind of thing. And those can be just these incredibly deep spiritual experiences. And it just seemed like this is like perfect for a group to be able to. So yeah, there's a whole chapter at the end on how, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how groups take this and start to work with it. I think it has a lot of potential because there's a lot to work with there. Not just sitting around and going, another bad day. So yeah.
I really like the idea that, this book was written by companioning one another. And we have the companionship of the stories that we tried to find that were diverse identities, diverse experiences of chronic illness. And the idea that healing story is a way to heal your experiences, one piece at a time, and to share it, not just live like Florence said in isolation. And in that it could be seasonal. So there's a lot of ways I've kind of imagined different ways that this could show up in communities or senior centers or just even almost like a book club, even, where you have a chapter and you read, and you get together. And so anyway, I'm excited too to see what people do with the book. And mostly that doesn't have to be something that you do alone. I think that is something that is frightening, when you're alone and you don't have resources. And this hopefully helps with that.
Good, thank you both. I want to open it up. If people have, there must be questions among y'all online. If you would put a question in the chat, we will entertain it.
And I'm gonna for those who maybe joined, because we've had a couple people join since I did this initially. We are giving away 2 autographed books. And all you have to do to get in the raffle is I just put this link to a form. Just go to the link and put your name and email address. And then at the end, even if you have to leave early, it's fine because we have your email address. We can I'll do a random number generator and 2 people will get some autographed books delivered to them. So I think it's also possible people could you could raise your
Yeah, you could raise a hand.
hand.
Yeah,
Let me
get
switch my
attention.
view so I can see everybody. So you can raise your real hand or your virtual hand. Virtual is nice because then we can see and we won't see your real hand if your video's off.
Any other questions? Gosh, not even nosy questions.
Yeah, come on. Don't be shy. It's a friendly crowd. I can almost guarantee it. Ah,
Right,
iPhone
iPhone
3.
3.
Ah, I think I know that person. It's Barry. And let me see if I can ask you to unmute. There you go. Oh, and you're still
Oh,
muted.
Barry, you need to unmute. We can't unmute for you.
Yeah, it's not letting me unmute. Well, Barry, why don't you
On a
keep
phone, it might be hard. It might be hard to
yeah.
that little button. Those buttons are so tiny.
Yeah, I wish it would let me do it, but it won't.
I know.
I could have set it up that way. I didn't, sorry. If you manage to unmute, you can jump in after anybody else who's asking a question. I guess another thing would be if you have the book.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
Oh, yay!
Yay! Okay, Barry.
One thing that I've noticed with you in groups about this specific thing is you tend to ask questions that are somewhat less than party line kind of questions that also generate answers um, that give people freedom to really answer. And I'm wondering, I haven't gotten the book yet, but I'm wondering if that part of um, the group work is discussed, or if you have tips for that, because it's a wonderful gift. Uh, Sometimes people don't ask good questions that also lead to narrow answers and people staying in party line responses. So I just wondered about that.
Well, yes. As a matter of fact, every chapter has questions to ponder. So, I mean, if I just open up one here,
Yeah, give us some examples.
yeah, here's what, maybe Julie can find one or two too. So this is from the chapter on comfort. Did you have family rituals that brought you pleasure and comfort as a child? Were they daily, weekly, seasonal? So that's one. How about you, Julie?
This is from Anger. What did your family, friends, or faith tradition teach you about anger while you were growing up? What tools did you learn to address anger? How have your thoughts or action remained the same or changed over time with how you express or deal with anger?
And here's one I just opened randomly from Shame. Does chronic illness, pain, or disability mean that you can't live up to societal standards? How so? So yeah, the idea is that actually you could do those in your own life, just journaling on them, or you could be in a group and explore these questions in a talking circle or whatever it might be.
I want to do these with my family. Like I want my family because like they're my primary religious community, but they're also like my support. And there's many of us have chronic illness. I want to read this with my family. Oh, it's so good.
Any other questions?
Well, the other thing I thought, if you don't have a question, but you do have the book, is there something that's really struck you and why? Because I know we saw a bunch of books go up right at the beginning too. So I know some of you have gotten them.
I wanted to highlight the beautiful full color that is in our book. And we've got our editor, Larissa, is online right now. And all the work that went into all of this with the illustrations and the icons, their sticky notes, their and the beauty of recognizing that people don't want to read black text when they're with chronic illness, that you can just flip it open and kind of find what you need.
I will second that. And actually, I haven't had a chance to tell anybody from Skinner House this, but the first like real life event I did with the book was at a senior living community in California, Enso Village, a Zen inspired senior living community. And the first thing people said was, "Oh my God, I love that it's so readable, that there's like all this space around the blocks of text." And they just loved that. And I did want to, although we have not met we had both a cover designer, we had an artist, Alyssa Alarcon Santo, a cover designer, Alex Camlin, and text designer, Tim Holtz. We knew from the very beginning that that was going to be critical for this book to work. And we just know you all went above and beyond to make that possible and like totally rocked it. So huge thanks to Larissa and other people at Skinner House. I don't know if
I love Skinner House.
Larissa or Pierce want to say anything, feel free, but you're not obliged.
Yeah, if you don't mind, hi all. I was the production editor for this book, so I probably know this book third best in the world, I would say, at this point, though it has been a little bit. Um, but yeah, Florence and Julie were like, they had a really specific vision of how they wanted the book to be visually engaging. Because if you don't feel good, then it's really hard to focus on dense blocks of text. And this book was, we work on a number of different things at Skinner House. This one was particularly meaningful for me because I have lived with chronic illness for many years. And I had to figure out a lot of the things that they're talking about in the book from scratch. It was before kind of people knew about, or at least before I knew that there were, online disability communities and all these sorts of things. So I found it really moving to read all the things that they put together, and different people's stories, especially. And I was also really happy that the artist that we worked with, Alyssa, she's someone I've known for a long time, and though we haven't talked much in a long time, but I knew she was the right person for this book because she has this beautiful illustration style that works so well with the focus on the natural world and the seasons. And also she's lived with chronic illness and disability for a very long time as well. And so, she wanted to read the whole book before she started working, and it was really, she got really into it, and she had so many like different pictures and everything that she was working from. And so the fact that like on so many different levels as we were working on this book, it was kind of also creating a community of chronically ill people who could read it and say like, yes, like that is what it feels like. It does feel like you can't live up to expectations when you can't do these things. Was really lovely. And so I'm really grateful to Julie and Florence for bringing their book, so that I could get to read it. So thanks.
Thank you so much, Larissa. Truly. a labor of love. Sometimes just a labor, I think. Thank
But we
you.
got
Pierce, I see you're unmuted.
I am. I will not be half as eloquent as Larissa because I'm not the editor, but I just want to echo what they said that this book kind of made its way into the hearts of everyone at Skinner House. And so it's lovely for me to have the honor to then kind of spread that out into the world. And, you know, in the ways that it touched Larissa and it touched the illustrator, like there are members of our staff, and I won't say who, but like people who have long COVID or loved ones who have long COVID. You know, my partner has cancer and my daughter has type 1 diabetes, and it's just kind of made its way through us. And it's a really beautiful thing. And again, we're very grateful. And I feel very honored in particular to then do the marketing out to the world.
Well,
And thank you all for coming to the launch event.
yeah. Thank you. And thank you to everybody, Mary, everybody at Skinner. Just huge gratefulness.
Yeah, of course, Mary Bernard was the one who actually believed in this to begin with. So big thanks. And stepped in on a number of occasions, like our great struggle about the title, things like
Yes.
that.
But we got there. We got there. We got the perfect title at the end. And it really was. It was all of us kind of coming together in a meeting and someone just striking the right note, the right word, and the brainstorm coming together. It was quite magic.
And the
I have to say,
collaboration
I
was
think it's the cover is so beautiful. I
Yes.
adore this cover. I could just look at the cover all day.
Yeah.
So thank you. I noticed that actually we've got a couple questions
We
in the
do.
chat.
However, Diana Davies, I saw Diana Davies with a hand up. Where's Diana?
Oh, okay.
I was so excited to see her.
Oh, hey.
Go ahead, Diana.
I'm sorry I was late. You may have talked about this already, but I'm just struck by the timing of the release of this book and the environment that folks with chronic illness or severe illness are dealing with in this country right now. And the fear as are cut and I don't know how to put this in a question, but I just was struck by the timing of it and how if it was always essential, but if something can be more essential, it feels like it is now. And I guess my question is, how does fear always is a part of chronic illness, but it feels like the fear may be a little bit different right now. And how do you all address that? Or do you have practices that specifically address that fear?
we do have spiritual practices for fear. I was just trying to flip through for the book and find the fear chapter. Do you have anything to say about that, Florence, or?
Well, I just think it's a very good point. No, it's completely coincidental. I think we thought things might go differently last fall, honestly, which was just about when our manuscript was getting in a year ago. But yes, I think you're right. I know as a person who has lived on long-term disability and who is also covered under the Affordable Care Act, this is very real for me and probably real for a number of you as well. And I think I would just say again, you know, the supporting of one another is just absolutely critical. That's the best medicine I've found. I do want to see if we can answer a couple of these questions. Maybe we can each take one. I don't know if there's like I think there's three.
Anna asks, I wonder if either of you would have any further reflections that you could share here about around the anger and shame that comes with our bodies, not allowing us to do all we want to do. More broadly, we have to be the first to reject patriarchal capitalism. This is such a heavy lift when already feeling so much. Thank you for all this work. I can't wait to be able to get a copy of the book and work through it myself.
Well, I'll just say, I'm one of the things, there's a chapter on rest, and and also a chapter on play. But one of the things that I think we feel very indebted to a number of Black women activists and writers, like Tricia Hersey, the Bishop of Nap Ministry, and we quote a number of them, really, really making this point. Tricia Hersey wrote a book called Rest is Resistance, and to realize just how kind of radical and kind of countercultural it is, and yet we don't have any choice, right? We have to do this for our own survival.
We also talk in various ways about loving who you are, not the idea of what you're supposed to be, and that there's an acceptance chapter. There's and I think the rest chapter also just embraces, so often chronic illness is that that you have to produce, that you have to do this. And doing full-time ministry, my ministry looks a lot different than it did pre-rheumatoid arthritis, because I take naps. and so the patriarchy tells me I can't take a nap. I say no. Whatever the patriarchy is.
So good. Thank you. Meg asked if there will perhaps be an audiobook, that it was wonderful and so moving to listen to you reading parts. I don't know if Skinner House does that. Skinner House?
Skinner House chose not to do an audiobook for this one because there's so many diverse voices, and they wanted to honor the fact that, we wanted the authenticity to be there. And luckily, Florence has recorded some of her meditations, and they are on our website. But yeah, unfortunately, there's so many voices that there won't be an audiobook.
And so I'm putting the link actually in right now, which it's a little difficult to get to it without the link, although I'm working on it. And it's not N to your spirit, it's 10 to your spirit. So there it is, if you wanna go to the website. And there's a page that under more, which has the 4 of the guided meditations that are in the back of the book. And we are going to be putting up our playlist, which is one of my favorite parts of the book. Actually, it was really fun finding the music. So, and we'll probably add to those over time. So that's a way that you can kind of engage in an audio way.
So creative. Okay, Nicolette asks, how do you deal with making commitments? Example, I will serve as a worship associate for a church this year. When you have a fatal diagnosis and know you have limited time. I am feeling fairly able currently, but I'm beyond my freshness date. Even though there are good days and bad days, that's not a reason to disengage from community and life. But I feel the conflict and suspect that people don't invite or ask me to do things because of the illness. Oh.
That's a big question. I think, some of that is, of course, personal. I think what Florence said about finding joy and knowing each day is precious to you, and how you, I don't know, I think, and also I know when I have been with people in my ministry who have serious illness, and who, when they show up, people listen and they have such profound things to say, and by their witness to living in that space and time. So it can be incredibly beautiful and incredibly amazing to be a part of ritual, and to own your part of the sacredness of life. That Florence, if she wants to.
Well, in a way, I kind of feel like there's so much wisdom in your question that, it almost doesn't need an answer. You're finding a way of living fully with a fatal diagnosis. And by the way, we are all fatal in one way or another. Some of us might have more of a date than others, but we're all in that same boat. So I just drew the first name for the raffle. So, and so if hopefully everybody who wanted a book or is interested in being part of the raffle got in there. Lynn Lobo, you got the first one. So I happen to know that Lynn is in Australia. So that's going to be interesting, but we'll manage it. We promised we will get you a book. And let me do another one. Let's see. Okay, let me see. And Nancy Bragg. Okay, you too. You're our people. So look forward to getting the books to you. Thank you for putting in your email, and we will be in touch. And it'll probably take us a little while because the book has to go from one of us to the other of us and then to you, but especially to Australia. But we'll manage it.
All right.
So I think we were going to do what? What's our agenda say, Tandy? One more toast?
You got the drawing, and I've got like a benediction last toasty thing. But if people want to put like wishes and blessings and gratitudes into the chat for Julianne and Florence, that would be so lovely.
Would be.
Okay. And grab your glass again. This is my wish. May this book be a companion for all who live in tender bodies, a lantern for those journeying the long road of uncertainty, and a soft hand resting on the heart that asks, how do I live with this? May its words remind us that we are not our pain alone, that even in fatigue, we are luminous with spirit, and that caring for ourselves is a holy act. As we go from this gathering, may we carry its invitations into our own lives to move gently, to listen deeply, and to tend to what is sacred in all around us. Go in peace, go in kindness, go in wholeness. Amen.
Mm. Thank you so much, Tandy.
You are so welcome. Thank you for asking me. You honor me. I love you both so much.
Yay, happy publication day. Thanks, Larissa. Thanks, Pierce. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Julianne. Thank you, Florence.
Thank you for the contributors who are here.
Yes, yes.
It's just beautiful.
Accessibility is my religion. Woo.
So thank you for making it a really great online book launch. I have to say, I'm really like close to tears. Each one of you just, and the spirit that you brought and the great questions.
And it was so great to see your faces and your names showing up here for us. We really appreciate it.
And we did record it. So if you know somebody who's like, wow, I'm really sorry I missed that, just let them know and we can get in touch with one of us. And actually we have an email that both of us can check. Let's see if I can remember it. Yes.
Tend to your spirit at gmail.com.
Yeah, I think it's a book. Tend to your spirit book. So anyway, you may know how to reach one of us, which is fine. But if you don't, and you want to, get in touch about something, you haven't gotten your book yet, you were one of the people that, won the raffle, Nancy Bragg and Lynn Lobo. Okay, hold on here. There we go. So you can send us.
There you go.
Oh, there's a you're missing. It's tend to your spirit book at gmail.com.
All right.
Apparently I can't do that. Too much, sparkling apple cider. Thank you all.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Thanks.